Hello and welcome back to day six. Day six. I've actually done something for 6 days in a row, and that's just click the button and go live. So thank you if you're hanging out with me. And again, right now, no one is, and that's okay. If you're catching this in the replay, I have been spending the week working on my Tina Marie podcast, kind of trying to build in public, taking you through some of the ways I used AI to help me flesh out my initial idea and concepts for the week for the podcast series. It's going to be a 14 episode series that will run this summer on the Pop Culture Kids channel, which is the show I do with my brother. And every Sunday night we talk pop culture. This Sunday we're talking about concerts and some of the concerts that are coming up this year. So by all means, please join us, tune in, let us know your first concert experience. And I will talk about, and I might have been to concerts before this particular concert, but I remember it as being my first because it was like, again, something I was all excited about and prepped for. But I'll talk about that Sunday night. Oh, is that a teaser? Yes, on Pop Culture Kids. So check that out. Today, I wanted to just do my podcast thumbnail. I had a thumbnail that I created just for this like 7 day series because I was building this podcast in public. And I'm excited because tomorrow, I said I was going to tape today. Or actually, eh, hold the boat. I was actually going to um, videotape the parts of the podcast yesterday. But if you tuned in yesterday, you know that middle school beat my butt and I just was in no mood and I had no patience for it. Couldn't do it. I knew I couldn't record. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to tell yourself, hey, it's not in the cards today. It's just not going to happen. And that's okay. That's okay. But I wanted to make sure I did commit and do this live challenge. So I am trying. And oh, look at that. A few folks are joining me. So hi, and thank you. I wanted to actually do my podcast thumbnail today. So we're going to get to that in just a second. But it's just thanks for stopping in and coming by. So hello to the folks who are checking this out. Why are you in a blue circle? Why am I in a blue circle? I Lord only knows. Um, this was a background image that I created, and I think I did it in Canvas, and I just made it a circle. The beauty of Ecamm is that I can change it, make it a square if I wanted to, or a squircle, or I can make it any kind of shape I want to. One of the things I like about Ecamm because you can play with some of the different things that are part of the program, and yeah, that it's a tool. It's there for in Ecamm. I'm going to use it. All right, but more so than that, I wanted to. As I work on this podcast, I realized that the podcast thumbnail is a lot different than the YouTube. Not a lot different, but it's a different size. So we're going to hop into some Canva business and make that thumbnail. Make that thumbnail. Then I'm going to go and have some dinner. I know it's like 8:30 on the East Coast, and I haven't had dinner. So in Canva, I was actually, as I said, my brother and I, we do a podcast together. And it's called Pop Culture Kids. We're going to be talking about concerts and our first concert experience. I don't even know whether he remembers his first concert, but I want to create a podcast thumbnail for this. And once we create that thumbnail, I'm going to move it over to Buzzsprout and put it right on. Let's see, let's do podcast cover. All right. We got it. There are some templates that they have. And I mean, I guess if you don't know what you're doing, it's a good place to start, but I'm sure you want to, to add your own flavor. But if you're like me and you know nothing about design, well, then, hey, you're going to go with it. Uh, let's see. I'm not sure. who this person is, but they are spamming the heck out of my yeah. So thank you for stopping by, but not particularly helpful right now. We're just kind of doing a little behind the scenes, and um, yeah, not quite sure what that person in the comments was doing or thinking about. Live happens, so that's just the beauty of going live. So getting back to my purpose, and that's to come up with a podcast thumbnail. So here we are, and they have a lot of different like templates and things that you can choose from, and I'm not so sure, like even if I took something like this, and I know right now I don't like the background color, that's for sure. And I don't know who this chick is, but we're taking her out. Um, uh, let's see. I'm actually going to put hosted by, and I'm going to put my name in here. Oops, and that's not how you spell my name, Kathy Walker of, and I'm going to bring in some of my uploads. Uh, So we'll get the pop culture kids, because again, the podcast is going to live on the pop culture kids channel, and I have changed it to the Tina Marie podcast project, and yeah, we're going to make all of that much smaller so it kind of fits in the space. It doesn't need to be 200. Let's make it like 96. Nah, I can make it a little bigger than that. Let's make it 120. No, let's go bigger. 144. The Tina Marie Podcast Project. And maybe I can take one of my other uploads of, like, I like the picture that I had on the thumbnail. I could use that. I wonder if I could use this and do a background remover on it. Ugh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Does that resonate? I'm not liking that. So let's see what some of the other pictures that I pulled up from the internet. That's from the It Must Be Magic album. I wonder if that would work. I almost wonder if I need to. I wish I could do like you can do in Ecamm and give like the picture a dimension. Um, I'm not crazy about that photo either. So again, these are just some of the photos I found on the internet. I wonder if I took a couple of the different albums, because I am going to be reviewing the albums. And it's so small, this maybe we'll do something like that, and let's layer this, bring that to the front. Because basically the podcast is just about talking about her albums. I don't like the background color. I'm not crazy about that color. Um, I am more of a blue person. Oh, but the pop culture kids doesn't really pop with the blue. So let's take a look at this background again. Nah. That's kind of dark. I don't like the black. Up, white's not going to work. Maybe a darker blue so that you can still see these albums. I wonder if I can make that line thicker. Or let's duplicate it and put another one down here. Duplicate it again and put another one up here. Maybe a little too busy. I don't know. I'm kind of liking it. I'm going to call this Tina Marie Podcast Project, the TMPP. All right. And I am going to go ahead and download it. And once I download it, I'm going to go back over to Buzzsprout. And actually, I have a different folder for this. I'm going to save it in here because these are thumbnails specifically for this particular project and different things I've downloaded for this particular project. So let's go back into Ecamm real quickly and go back to just my main scene, and then I'm going to take it back into what am I taking it back into? Back into buzzsprout so that I can kind of show you where you load it in onto buzzsprout, and then we'll call it a day. I just wanted to do my live, do a quick stream and create a thumbnail for a podcast, because that's much different, not much different, but different than the thumbnail for YouTube. Haven't really thought about the YouTube thumbnail, but I think it'll be easy to convert because there is a feature in Canva that you can resize any of your projects. So we'll do that in a second. But before we do that, I wanted to go back into Buzzsprout where I created what will be, back to my podcast, what will be the podcast. So let's take it back to a screen share now that we're back at the Lady T podcast. And that was like my tentative name for it. I did go in and I think I called it the Lady T podcast. And here's what happened. I did some research and there are a couple podcasts. Let's Talk with Lady T. I think a DJ down in Texas. Her name is Lady T. And then Chatting with Lady T. So I wanted to take that out of the name and just call it the Tina Marie Podcast Project. And I want to select the file that I'm adding, which let's see. I saved some images, but let's go and find my thumbnail for TMPP. So we're going to add that thumbnail. I put in some other information. This podcast will not contain explicit information. So now I'm going to save my podcast info. It's been saved and they've changed it up here. Is that the perfect thumbnail? Probably not. But I think having those album covers on the thumbnail lets people know, hey, this is what it's about. And we are describing it in the description that Tina Marie is an Epic artist, which actually she did record on Epic. So maybe bad choice of words. Maybe I need to rewrite that. Whose music and body of work is one that should be honored and recognized in the Hall of Fame. I invite voters to listen to this 14-week podcast series to make the case album by album. If you're not a voter, well, just listen and learn about one of the best kept secrets in all of R&B. Maybe that's not too true because she's not really a secret to R&B. If you've listened to any R&B radio, you know who Tina Marie is. So you know the point, the scam, the little the deal. Anyway, so that's all I really wanted to take through today so that I could get through day 6 of just going live and just getting more comfortable, throwing up the lights, clicking a button, and letting it fly, and hopefully being able to show you some of the process that I'm going through to actually record and do a podcast. I haven't gotten into the nitty gritty. So tomorrow, I guess I will have to actually film and record. As I've said before, I've been kind of in a makeshift studio. I'm not even in a makeshift studio. I'm in an empty house because I had a flood. So there's no tile or anything on the ground, and all my stuff is just been taken out of my home so that they can redo my floors once the insurance money comes through. Anyway, so I'm not in my normal studio, and usually I use a roadcaster, um, a roadcaster to record. So I'm probably going to set that up tomorrow and at least start recording the first segment of the first episode, Wild and Peaceful, or either work on the script for the second episode because I already have the bullet points and all the things for the first episode. So we're going to do some recording tomorrow. I promise you, we will do some recording. Hopefully, we can do it before we do Pop Culture Kids. That we do live at 6 p.m. So hopefully my plan is to probably stream a little earlier for the last day of the challenge, maybe at about 3 or 4 o'clock, to do at least 30 minutes of just recording the actual podcast in this whole building and public process. And even though that will be day 7 and technically the end of the challenge, I don't know. I might be crazy enough to try to do some editing in public too. So stay tuned. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight for this really quick session just to get our podcast thumbnail created, uploaded on Buzzsprout. And now I'm getting even more psyched about those episodes. Because, oh, you know what? In my other research too, just looking, there are no other podcasts devoted to Tina Marie. Again, there have been a couple episodes. Like there's one podcast called One Song. I know I watched that one too. So there are people who've dedicated podcast episodes to her. But hey, I'm doing a 14-week series, kind of a mini spinoff from our Pop Culture Kids podcast. So we shall see. We shall see. Anyway, thanks for being here.